let's move on to main topic number 1. And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by Alton Wang, who writes, HBO has act of social distancing by making 500 hours of programming available free for a limited time under the heading to get people to stay home. And I know you said that it does not cost Warner Brothers too much money. They should release the Snyder Cut. Do companies have a moral obligation to release free content? All right, that comes into us from Alton Wang. It's an interesting question. But getting first to the heart of the issue here, the main thing here is that HBO has decided to, under the banner of, hey, let's encourage people to stay at home, give them some even more entertainment. They're making more than 500 hours of their prime content available for free starting today. You do not need an HBO account. You don't need to sign up for it. Starting today, a lot of the content on HBO is free. This comes to us from Variety. The list of free programming includes, it's not just the little table scraps. It includes every episode of 9 HBO series, The Sopranos, which, by the way, if you have not started watching The Sopranos, this is a good time to binge and get caught up on that classic. Anyway, Veep, Succession, 6 Feet Under, The Wire, Ballers, Barry, Silicon Valley, and True Blood, all major shows. Also streaming for free are 20 Warner Brothers movies on HBO. Currently cataloging include Pokemon Detective Pikachu, The Lego Movie 2, the second part, and Crazy Stupid Love. By the way, I love that movie. I love Crazy Stupid Love. Anyway, and 10 HBO documentaries and docuseries, including McMillions, which is really popular right now, and The Case Against Adnan Syed. So, and which is a huge, that was, for those of you who know what the Adnan Syed thing, that's the podcast phenom for, what was the name of the podcast again? That was all about the case of Adnan. It was like, it was the most popular podcast in the world. It got everybody Serial. I think it was called Serial.
Yeah.
Anyway. So that was a follow-up documentary on that. So HBO releasing a whole bunch of content for free. Listen, I'll tell you what, I think this is a tremendous idea. And I think it's a tremendous idea for two different things, because it is a win-win. On the one hand, it's tremendous that it helps out. A lot of people stuck at home voluntarily, which is great. Everybody doing their part to stay at home, give them more entertainment while being at home, give them more incentive to be at home. That's great. And them doing their part to do that. But also it's a win on the other side, Rob, because this is good for business too. This is a great opportunity for HBO to come out and say, hey guys, come check out our shows. Look at what we have. This is just a taste of the type of quality programming, at least this is from HBO's point of view, the type of quality programming we have in HBO, and that could be good for them later down the line. So it's one of those great situations where it is indeed a win-win. The question, though, is, do we then feel that these types of services have a moral obligation to provide content for free to people? I very hesitantly, that type of a question always gives me pause. Because here's the thing, Rob, as human beings, I've mentioned this before, but as human beings, you know this, dude, we are all experts on what other people's moral obligations are. We're all complete world-class experts on what other people's moral obligations should be. So I would say no. It is not the moral obligation of streaming services to provide their content for free any more than it is your moral obligation at home to go and take 10% of whatever money you have in your bank account and go give it to somebody less fortunate. It would be really cool for you to do. It'd be very admirable of you to do, but it is not your moral obligation to do. Nor should you be frowned upon or looked down upon if you don't do it. And I think we all have different sets of criteria when judging other people. We don't want to apply those things to ourselves for judging other people. But listen, it doesn't, just because it's not a moral obligation, doesn't take away from the fact that I think it's a good idea. It's good for society. It's good for them as a business moving forward, because at some point, Rob, this whole mess we're in is going to be put behind us, and there's going to be business getting back relatively to normal, and having done something like that's going to be good for their business. So I don't see a downside to this. I think this is great, but I fall short of saying I think it's a moral obligation for them to provide that for people. Anyway, Rob, this is an interesting story from a lot of different angles. How do you look at it?
Well, I think all the lessons anyone needs to learn in life are in the Godfather movies, to be honest. And in Godfather 3, a movie that The Sopranos, a character on The Sopranos said was just misunderstood. I think when Michael Corleone gets up and he said, helping your fellow mankind is always profitable. And I think in the long run, when companies do things like this that they have no obligation to do, when they open up, look, HBO wants to make money. HBO got to eat, John. And I understand that. And they need money to make the great shows that they make. They're not making low-budget local cable access shows. They're making internationally renowned shows that are the best of the best. However, when they do something like this in a time of need, when people are home, they're looking to be entertained. I mean, if you haven't seen The Wire, now you can see it. I think this is good business, and it's something people will remember. You know, in the future, maybe people will see HBO shows and be like, they've never had HBO. They didn't think they needed it unless Game of Thrones was on. And they'll be like, wow, there's a lot of great stuff I've missed. And HBO, when I was sitting at home, they came to me and they said, look, everybody knows they're a business. Everybody knows they want more subscribers. But here was HBO doing something they didn't have to do. You know, and they're not saying, we'll give you free stuff as long as you subscribe later. No, they're leaving that up to you, but they're giving you free programming, a lot of great free programming, some of the best free programming. And I think it's good business because, you know, not everything is about the next fiscal quarter and the bottom line. And we need to start thinking that way. And maybe our planet as a whole, the whole human species will learn from this and be like, you know what? We've just been given a new lease on life by the landlord, as Roy Scheider said at the end of 2010, that we don't have to lead our lives the way we'd been doing. And this is, I think, this whole experience ultimately will be a wake-up call, how to do better business, how to be better neighbors, how to be more mindful of just those around us, and how to be more careful of ourselves and take care of ourselves better. So I think HBO is one of the many companies that see this, and they're trying to do whatever they can that's in their power. They provide programming. That's what they do. They're giving people some free programming for a while, and I think kudos to them.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's well said. Guys, the question here for you is this. What do you think about this move by HBO to provide this content for free? Do you think streaming companies like that should have a moral obligation to give out their wares for free at this point? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.